Breaking club transfer records has become a regular occurrence in recent years, but it was not always like that. Here we take you through 11 of Liverpool's record signings over the years. With the commercialization and commodification of football having taken a stranglehold on the industry, the lining in the pockets of modern clubs are significantly deeper. It has led to hundreds of millions of pounds sent from one club to another, a distant memory from the tens to hundreds of thousands for the star players in the mid-1900s. Previous to that, Liverpool would kick it all off with a £35 move for William Dunlop in 1895 from Paisley, Abercorn, but the post-war saw fees in the tens of thousands, starting with Albert Stubbins in 1946 for £12,500. Ian St. John's would follow, as would Emile Hughes, John Stossard and Ray Kennedy, before fees would slowly edge closer to the £1 million mark. In fact, from 1977 to 2018, Liverpool would see a price differential of £74,560,000 in just 41 years. And here's the history of 11 of the Reds' record signings. Kenny Dalglish for £140,000 from Celtic in 1977. Signing Bob Paisley was not going to let slip through his finger, driving up to Glasgow himself before adding an extra 10% to secure a deal, more than doubling the Reds' previous highest fee. It was a deal that would usher in a Liverpool legend, with Dalglish winning 23 honours as both a player and manager. Mark Lawrenson, £900,000 from Brighton in 1981, just under the £1 million threshold. It was a price that made 24-year-old Lawrenson the most expensive defender in Britain at the time. Peter Bursley, £1.9 million from Newcastle in 1987. Liverpool will finally break the barrier to make their first £1 million purchase, with Bursley the chosen one. He will spend 4 years at Anfield. Dean Saunders, £2.9 million from Derby in 1991. Another sizable investment from the Reds, but Saunders would last just 1 year after struggling to truly adapt to life under Graham Souness. Stan Collymore, £8.5 million from Nottingham Forest in 1995. The move for the striker was one that blew the previous records out of the water, with the £8.5 million figure not only a club record but also a British transfer record. Collymore would establish a prolific partnership with Robbie Fowler and hit the net 35 times in 81 appearances. Emile Heskey, £11 million from Leicester in year 2000. The new millennium lifted the sailing for the Reds as they hit the tens of millions with the acquisitions of Heskey, who will strike up a brilliant partnership with Michael Owen. Djibril Cissé, £14.5 million from Auxerre in year 2000. 4 years later, and the record was broken once more as Gerard Houllier secured his final signing, making Cissé the first non-British or Irish player to hold Liverpool's record fee. Fernando Torres, £20.2 million from Atletico Madrid in 2007. Merely 3 years later, another landmark figure for the Reds, with Torres joining the ranks and more than repaying the fee needed to land his signature. The striker led Anfield and would score 81 goals in 142 games before his heartbreaking exit, where Liverpool would then secure the record transfer sale of £15 million in 2011. Andy Carroll, £35 million from Newcastle in 2011. This one is enough to make you flinch as Liverpool made Carroll the most expensive English player of all time, where he never was able to live up to his lofty price tag. He made just 58 appearances for the Reds. Mohamed Salah, £43.9 million from Roma in 2017. One you will look back on and say Liverpool robbed Roma, with Salah leaping into the world-class category with relative ease. His arrival was not met instantly with awe, but there is no doubt that the Egyptian has since etched his name into the club's history books for all the right seasons. Virgil van Dijk, £75 million from Southampton in 2018. It's not every day you say £75 million is a bargain, but when it relates to Virgil van Dijk, it is certainly the case. A transformational signing in more ways than one, and while a figure which comfortably surpasses its predecessors, Liverpool have been repaid comfortably with 4 major honors.